My name is Robert Flores, and welcome to my presentation today as I give a little insight as to my belief as to why I believe that you would be better off with a ruby in your engagement and wedding ring sets than a diamond. A few of the points that I will be making, I'll be covering. I have gained that information through years of research and just public or my own private interest in the subject. But first, let me give you just a tidbit of traditional information about engagement rings. The first documented use of engagement rings is accredited to the ancient Egyptians. And in particular, the first documented use of a diamond in an engagement ring setting goes back as recently as 1477 by the Archduke of Austria Maximilian. So that was the first time it was documented that a diamond was actually used. Before that, what was used in these rings? What was the symbol of love and everything? Well, in this presentation today, I'll be covering the ruby's historical significance and place in the realm of rings and engagement rings and wedding rings. I'll be covering gem rarity between diamonds and rubies. I'll be talking about some of the effective marketing of diamonds. I'll be talking about the control of trade of diamonds. And finally, in conclusion, I'll be giving my final thoughts on rubies and diamonds. First, let me start off with a little bit of the historical significance. Interestingly enough, when I was researching this subject, I found out and I read that in the Bible, rubies are mentioned more times than diamonds are, and they're mentioned more favorably than diamonds. It is said that a virtuous woman is far more valuable than rubies. It didn't say that a virtuous woman was far more valuable than diamonds, but it said rubies. So to me, that said that during that time, they held rubies as probably one of the highest valuable stones that there was, not diamonds, but rubies. And to go along with that, when I kind of went off on a tangent. I started researching crowns of kings, of heads of state during those times in ancient medieval times and the ancient Egyptians. And one reoccurring thing that I saw was that rubies took the centerpiece stone setting of some of these crowns and a lot of these really ornate jewelry pieces. It was rubies that was the biggest piece. So that told me, again, that rubies in historical times were considered more valuable. So, and in that sense, I think traditionally, and for a longer period of our human history, rubies were considered higher than diamonds. Now let me talk about diamonds' rarity and the myths that are associated with diamonds. It was surprising to me and surprising to a lot of people. It was surprising to my wife when I was telling her about some of this research that I did. That diamonds really aren't not rare. In fact, diamonds are very plentiful. They're one of the most plentiful gemstones on earth. So that totally went against everything that I had been conditioned to think about diamonds by marketers and ad campaigns, is that diamonds are rare. They're not. They're very plentiful. A lot more plentiful than rubies and sapphires and stones like that. They're not that rare. In fact, from the year 2005 to 2017, there were 140 million carats worth of diamonds mined. Now, just to give you a little comparison in prices, in 1960, a full carat the average price for a full carat was around $2,700. Today, from the latest figures that I saw, 2016, that price has gone up to $30,000. Now, it kind of doesn't make sense, because why has the price gone up when availability and supply of diamonds has quadrupled, has gone up to historical levels? If anything, when we were taught supply and demand, that when there's high supply, price should go down, but it is not. Diamonds are at an all-time high, even though diamond supply is at an all-time high. So that is a myth, and it's never made sense to me whatsoever. Now that leads me into my next subject, which is the marketing of diamonds and the control of supply. I'm sure that we've all remember, at least some of us do, the marketing ad, the campaign that diamonds are forever. And that was started in 1947 by the De Beers Corporation to increase diamond sales. If you remember, at that time, we had just come out of a World War and there was a depression. So in order to increase diamond sales, the De Beers Corporation hired a marketing agency which came up with that slogan. Well, that slogan worked, because 3 years later, the sales were up over 50%. So that campaign was iconic and very, very, very effective. The next point I would like to make is that everywhere you look, you see diamonds. Almost every woman has a diamond ring, so much so that, to me at least, a diamond has lost its luster of what it was marketed to be in the first place. It's marketed to be rare, yet everyone we know has one. To me, one of the arguments for a ruby is to be different, to set your wife, your significant other, apart from everyone else. If everyone has a diamond, then the diamond doesn't seem so unique. That's why I believe that you would be better off with a ruby instead of a diamond. Finally, in conclusion, due to the fact of everything that I've talked about so far, the historical significance of rubies, the fact that in ancient times it was viewed as a symbol of purity and love, I would consider a ruby over a diamond. Keep in mind that the price that you pay for a diamond is not indicative of the value of that stone. You're being charged for a diamond that's supposed to be rare, and it's not. Diamonds should not cost as much as they do. We're being conditioned by clever marketing campaigns to lie to the consumer to make them pay the price, which is exorbitant. I believe that to best exemplify this woman or this person that you are wanting to marry, to highlight their virtues of true love, that you would be better off with a diamond or with a ruby. And with a ruby, it would spark conversation. People would probably want to say, "Well, why do you have a ruby instead of a diamond?" She can go into explain why. And most people, including my wife, who love diamonds, has diamonds all over the place. When I explained to her the historical meaning of rubies, she immediately wanted one and thought that was cool. And she wishes that I would have gotten her a ruby instead of a diamond in her wedding ring. Because now that she knows what the meaning is behind a ruby, she would like that better. So that is my short presentation on rubies over diamonds. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you leave it with a little bit more information than when you came in. And thank you for sitting through it.